Hello Satnam, it's me Shakti Sundari, back with you for the next reading from the Radiance Sutras. So today I'm reading from 4 different verses, and right now this transmission is for Yukti verse 112. So this is the last Yukti verse in the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra. There are some insight verses that come after this, so this series of transmissions isn't yet complete, so I'm quite happy about that. But this is the last verse. So we've journeyed together through all of them. This is the final one. So let me read from the Sanskrit of Yukti verse 112. Na me bandha na moksha me bitasya eta vibhishika priti bimbam idam bude jaleshu iva vivasvata. And one more time. Na me bandha na moksha me bitasya eta vibhishika priti bimbam idam bude Jaleshu iva vivasvata. It's a very beautiful ending as Bhairava, or Shiva, or the divine masculine, replies. This is the last verse of his reply to Shakti, to the divine feminine. Bhairava says, "Not for me, bondage. Not for me, liberation. I am beyond such nonsense. The sun is not trapped when it shines in a river, illuminating the lives of the fishes, nor is the sun freed again when it reflects off a ripple back into the sky. Bondage, freedom, notions arising from fear and separation. Look upon the universe and see only me." And yet there is an irony there, because in that recognition there is a freedom and a liberation that arises, in my understanding, in my experience anyhow. So let's go through this one, the final verse of the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra and of the Radiance Sutras in this translation. Bhairava says, "Not for me, bondage. Not for me, liberation." So once again we are given this apparent set of opposites, right? Bondage, where we are constrained, restrained, held in, limited, feeling trapped, feeling stuck, feeling controlled. Not for me, liberation, the opposite, freedom, no restriction whatsoever. So often in our lives we talk about one or other of these states, or the desire for one or other of these states. You know, we seek freedom. We complain about bondage. And yet these are it's still a duality. And this is a path of non-duality. So Shiva says, "Not for me, bondage. Not for me, liberation. I am beyond such nonsense." So in that consciousness, in that awareness, there neither of these states applies. It's beyond that. It's beyond the duality even of that. The sun is not trapped when it shines in a river. So, you know, yes, the image is of the sun shining down onto the water, and I guess the proposal might be that in that moment the sun is somehow limited. But of course not. Illuminating the lives of the fishes, how could it possibly be trapped? Nor is the sun freed again when it reflects off a ripple back into the sky. Because of course the sun is always there, just as in the previous verse, unchanging and eternal. However, it takes shape in this moment in one place. And of course, we're only perceiving it through our eyes in this finite body, right? But it's eternal everywhere. And those words, bondage, liberation, they're just words that are applied. They have no impact upon the reality of the eternal nature of the sun. So, Bhairava says, bondage, freedom, notions arising from fear and separation. So just looking at that within our own selves, when do we crave freedom? When do we complain about control or bondage? And then understanding that most likely it is when we are identifying with our ego self and there is a fear. So for example, I have recognized this weekend that there is a part of me that is afraid of being consumed by love and overwhelmed by it and dying to it. And when I identify with that part, it keeps me separate. It keeps me separate from love, it keeps me separate from others, and it keeps me separate from the abundant flow of love and life in the universe. And I think for many people there can be a fear of being trapped in love, in a relationship, or there can be a fear of overwhelm. And in fact, those two polarities often play out in our relating and in our lives. But these are just notions arising from fear and separation. And as Bhairava concludes, look upon the universe and see only me. So whatever is happening, whatever you behold, whatever your experience, in actuality, it is love, because that is all there is. So that is this reading, Yukti verse 112, the last verse from the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra. So I'm going to conclude this transmission here and begin another transmission to bring you the next verse, which is Insight verse 136. So Sat Nam, and thank you for being with me, and join me again shortly. Much love.